You're the only one I want by my side when I fall asleep. Tell me what I'm waiting for. Tell me what I'm waiting for. I know it's hard, but we need each other. Know it's hard, but we need each other. Yeah, back on vision with the braces on. You slide out the back without the names on. Going for the picture with the pearly whites. Deadlands and we ain't catching all my strikes. Use trade your personality, you give me all I need for the night. 40's advice, morning alright, but I need some advice. And I know that I'm acting foolish. Please pick me up about noonish. Acting like yeah, we coolin'. Please if there's one more outcast on the jet ski, yeah, we cruising. I love you right, I love you right. I'll be outside, but I'll make it right, baby. I want you to know. Be better for you, I'ma make you see that. You're the only one I want by my side when I fall asleep. Tell me what I'm waiting for. Tell me what I'm waiting for. I know it's hard, but we need each other. Know it's hard, but we need each other. I'm taking if that's all you ask for. With my legs up on the dashboard. Only thing in my pocket is my passport. Back and forth. I'll take that if that's all you ask for. With my legs up on the dashboard. Only thing in my pocket is my passport. Passport. Back and forth. I'll take that if that's all you ask for. With my legs up on the dashboard. Only thing in my pocket is my passport. Passport. Do you love me? Do you love me? Spending all my life so long waiting for me to call. You're the only one I want by my side when I fall asleep. Tell me what I'm waiting for. Tell me what I'm waiting for. I know it's hard, but we need each other. Know it's hard, but we need each other. I'm on my way, on my own, don't need nobody else. Change your mind when I change my life, and I start believing in myself. So we all out looking for God, so we never see it in ourselves. Shit, the fun and the fiction movies, yeah. It's hard to tell when a friend don't care. You can find me dancing in the single flames. Trying to find a way to make the kiss up. All the time with the pain, yeah. Got a nigga feeling bad. My instant be trademark. Copywritten in all my decisions. This is not supposed to be a way of living. Turn my temple down to 2 twists. Spending all my life so long waiting for me to call. You're the only one I want by my side when I fall asleep. Tell me what I'm waiting for. Tell me what I'm waiting for. I know it's hard, but we need each other. Know it's hard, but we need each other. Spending all my life so long waiting for me to call. You're the only one I want by my side when I fall asleep. Tell me what I'm waiting for. Tell me what I'm waiting for. I know it's hard, but we need each other. Know it's hard, but we need each other. Yeah, back on vision with the braces on. You slide out the back without the names on. Going for the picture with the pearly whites. Deadlands and we ain't catching all my strikes. Use trade your personality, you give me all I need for the night. 40's advice, morning alright, but I need some advice. And I know that I'm acting foolish. Please pick me up about noonish. Acting like yeah, we coolin'. Please if there's one more outcast on the jet ski, yeah, we cruising. I love you right, I love you right. I'll be outside, but I'll make it right, baby. I want you to know. Be better for you, I'ma make you see that. I want you. nobody else. Change your mind when I change my life, gotta stop believing in myself. So we all out looking for God, so we never see it in ourselves. Shit, the fun and the fiction movies, yeah. It's hard to tell what a fake don't care. You can find me dancing in the single flames, trying to find a way to make the can't stop. All the time with the pain, yeah. Got a nigga feeling bad. My business fellas be straight, copywritten in all my decisions. This is not supposed to be a way of living. Turn my temple down into a prison. Spending all that so long waiting for me to call me. You're the only one I want by my side, and I'm forced to. Tell me what I'm waiting for. Tell me what I'm waiting for. I know it's hard, but we need each other. I know it's hard, but we need each other. Spending all that so long waiting for me to call me. You're the only one I want by my side, and I'm forced to. Tell me what I'm waiting for. Tell me what I'm waiting for. I know it's hard, but we need each other. I know it's hard, but we need each other. Yeah, back on vision with the braces on. You slide out the back without a name on. Long for the picture with the birdie whites. Deadlands and we ain't catching all my strikes. Use trade Jones for some knowledge. You give me all I need for the night. 40's advice, morning or right, but I need some advice. And I know that I'm acting foolish. Please pick me up around noonish. Every night it'll be coolin'. Prisoners with law outcasts. When the days eating, it'll be cruising. I love you right. I love you right. I'm glad I'm sad, but I'll make it right, baby. I want you to know. Be there for you. I'ma make you see that. For you. I'm for you. Spend all night so long waiting for me to call me. You're the only one I want by my side, and I'm forced to. Tell me what I'm waiting for. Tell me what I'm waiting for. I know it's hard, but we need each other. I know it's hard, but we need each other. Spending all night so long waiting for me to call me. You're the only one I want by my side, and I'm forced to. Tell me what I'm waiting for. Tell me what I'm waiting for. I know it's hard, but we need each other. I know it's hard, but we need each other. I'm on my wings, on my own, don't need nobody else. Change your mind when I change my life, gotta stop believing in myself. So we all out looking for God, so we never see it in ourselves. Shit, the fun and the fiction movies, yeah. It's hard to tell what a fake don't care. You can find me dancing in the single flames, trying to find a way to make the can't stop. All the time with the pain, yeah. Got a nigga feeling bad. My business fellas be straight, copywritten in all my decisions. This is not supposed to be a way of living. Turn my temple down into a prison. Spending all that so long waiting for me to call me. You're the only one I want by my side, and I'm forced to. Tell me what I'm waiting for. Tell me what I'm waiting for. I know it's hard, but we need each other. I know it's hard, but we need each other. Spending all that so long waiting for.
Lucky, you already messed it up. Crazy.
Oh.
Spending all my life so long waiting for you to call me. You're the only one I want by my side when I'm forced to. Tell me what I'm waiting for. Tell me what I'm waiting for. I know it's time, but we need each other. I know it's time, but we need each other. I'm on my way so much.
Hallelujah, it's working.
Alright.
Finally, Jesus.
Sorry about that. That was just my mic absolutely messing up. It's always happens on the podcast. You get used to it. It isn't a 40 Fingers
The
podcast.
40 fingers curse, bro. It never ends.
It isn't
matter
a
what.
40 Fingers podcast if we're not having technical difficulties. But welcome to the 40 Fingers podcast. And we're here with the one and only Dako. Oh, round of applause, please. Prince, clap too.
My mic is red.
You're abysmal, man. Jesus.
It's not registering when I.
Okay, don't beat yourself. Jeez.
I won't. Alright, let me rate. Alright, and just forget it.
Okay, how you doing? How you doing, Dakota?
I'm good.
Uh,
A little nervous, but you know.
yeah, I mean, people usually get nervous before they come on podcasts, but it's all good. We all good here. But anyways, before we wanted to start off with any interview and stuff, I just wanted to ask you to give an introduction to your webtoon for anybody who doesn't know about Dakota's webtoon, Death Disciple. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, introduction.
My name is Dako or Dakota or Shani or whatever you want to call me. I make the webtoon Death Disciple. It's about the Grim Reaper offering someone one more year of their life if you help him pray for the souls in purgatory. And I work on it pretty much on the weekends and when I get home from work.
Oh, okay, interesting. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's currently on Webtoon right now. I read through it on stream as well with Prince some time ago. Actually, we read it together, didn't we, Prince? If
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ended up. It ended up having quite a nice charm to it. I was like, wow, this is because it's unique finding webtoons like that.
No.
So like,
Glad you liked it.
although wasn't we didn't go too far in it though. I don't believe. We stopped at a certain point, but I ended up.
We stopped after chapter 1 because like we were just trying to do the early chapters, give initial opinions, and then we went on to the next webtoon. So.
Interesting. Yeah. We both ended up quite liking it, so that's why we brought you on. But the first question we wanted to actually ask you, because now we're getting into questions. What's your history with art and writing?
Before I started making this comic, I usually just drew fan art or stuff I liked. And that was really it. I don't really have any other notable experience, really. I just always liked drawing, and that's something I've always done.
Oh, okay.
It's nothing too special. I've always wanted a comic, so I'm glad that I finally have one.
What fan arts? Like was it what anime, manga, comics, etc. were you making fan arts of?
Let me think. Just whatever I was into. Sometimes Idol Mastered, and then I really got into Land of the Lustrous, and that's what I mostly draw fan art for nowadays. Nowadays, yeah. It's hard to remember what I liked before that because I ended up liking it so much.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. Maggie at one point I really liked. I'm not as into it as much anymore.
Wait, Magi as in the Labyrinth of Magic Magi?
Yeah,
Magi.
I probably said it wrong.
Oh.
I used to really like that
What?
one, but I kind of fell out of it.
Yeah, I remember Prince showing me the anime.
Bro, Magi was. I remember when I went through my Magi phase. I still love Magi actually. It's just whenever I show it to people, it's just people say it's cheesy, which honestly I can't even deny. It begins pretty cheesy, but I still love it so much, you know?
Yeah.
It's such a fun world.
I still like it. I never finished the manga. I got to where did I get to? Where they go into the future. What
You
happened
should
with Alibaba and
finish.
Dart?
You have to finish. You have to
They have to
finish.
go to the future. They go to the future. I laughed when the old lady died at the beginning. That's as far as I go.
Oh no.
Lana XP says hi, Dako.
Hi,
Big
Lana.
fan.
Oh, we got
Ah,
fans
nice.
here.
Ah.
Oh.
Sick.
I see a couple people in chat. My YouTube is like totally different username than what I usually use, and I'm kind of embarrassed of it, so I'm not gonna type in the chat.
It's alright.
Wait. Wait, you have a YouTube channel for?
Yeah, I don't use it for anything. I
Ah.
just like stuff and
That's cool.
use
That's
it
cool.
for like history. I don't actually do anything with it.
Okay, that's I mean, yeah. What we say, Margie. I never finished that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I used to be really into that one.
Okay. So, all right. Although now I'm thinking about it, what are your favorites? Like, what type of medium? What would it be? Manga, anime, comics? What are your favorites? And did they like? How did they inspire you? So you talked about Magi and like that gem one you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did they inspire you?
Land of the Lustrous. I read the manga before I watched the anime. Everyone talked about the anime because of its CG, but I'm always the type of person to read mangas first.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up reading it, and the way that the author draws her panels, I'm not gonna call it like easy,
Mm-hmm.
but it seemed more accessible. I don't
Right.
really know how to put it. Like
Simplistic.
Yeah, it was simplistic and it was easy to read. And before then, I had mostly read like shonen stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which has like really overly detailed backgrounds and characters, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It was different.
Oh, I think the word minimalism. I think that's the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you like that kind of? That's what sort of inspired you to make your type of art, right?
Yeah, it really inspired me. It inspired Death's Disciple in its entirety, really. That one manga.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. That's nice. I mean, I'll have to give Land of the Lustrous a look then to see how. It's interesting to see when like when Canvas creators talk about their favorite manga. I like to look back at what they create, and then their inspirations, and I like to make that kind of connection because you can really see like the love that comes into their work from that manga. It's kind of interesting.
Wait,
Yeah,
you don't? No.
Oh, sorry, what?
I was just gonna say you didn't. Do you not know anything about Land of the Lustrous? Serious?
No, I know nothing about
Like
it.
anything, bro. You're
I
sleeping a lot today. Like I don't understand you, bro.
Okay, Magi. I don't know about Magi. You showed me it, and I didn't like it that much. I don't know if because like if it was like if I had to be in my anime weeb prime phase to watch
It's
it.
probably because of that. It's probably because of that.
Yeah, it's probably one of like Naruto or something. But I mean, Land of the Lustrous. I saw it and I associated it with that other bad anime with really bad animation. So I guess I never checked it out.
It's really good. I really liked it.
Fair enough.
And
I'll give it one shot.
I think it's worth at least trying it out. Most people say to watch the anime first, then read the manga. It's just whatever you want to do, really.
What's it about though? I don't really. Anytime I look at any sort of like actual like clips or anything, I don't understand what's going on. I'm just seeing Diamond Head, just doing her stuff.
Gem creatures in the way distant future trying to survive from people that come from space, basically, that want to take them away to the moon. Yeah.
Like that's it.
that's it.
So,
but it's
really
just
good.
so much fun.
I'm really bad at describing things. I'm not doing it justice. It's really good.
I don't know. I mean, I assume you did it right because even then, you were saying earlier before we started that it's a weird one, but I mean I didn't know it was that weird.
It's good. It's really good.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll give it a shot afterwards. All right, cool. All right. So next question, what's your origin? What is your origin story? Like as a Canvas creator, what made you want to start on Webtoon?
Specifically on Webtoons.
I mean, any sort of like platforms where you start your like Death Disciple or any other past projects.
I started the comic first before really looking into where to upload it, and a lot of people said that Webtoons was the best place to upload it.
Yeah.
That if you wanted any type of audience, that's where you'd want to go. So that's just where I went. And then I started learning about like Webtoons and what people like and what people don't like and stuff like that later on. I think I was like midway into chapter 2 is when I really started looking into where to upload it. I worked on Death's Disciple for 10 months beforehand without uploading it. Yeah, I worked on the first 3 chapters without uploading it. I uploaded a couple pages to my Twitter, and I had like 2 friends look in a Discord server and read chapter 1, but that was basically it. It was just me working on it by myself for 10 months.
Oh, so is it also like you just create a manga or just a webtoon because you just feel the need to do it, but you don't have a platform?
Yeah, I just really wanted something, and I liked the story I had going in my head, so I made it.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Because like,
yeah,
I mean, webtoons sort of like a. I mean, there's nothing else. I feel like there's nothing else like. There's no other comic upload besides like Tapastic or what was the other one? Smack Jeeves. There isn't anything big like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing really. I started uploading the comic to Tapas too recently. I don't get anything.
Yeah.
Aside from a couple people who I already know who comment on it, but that's it.
Yeah, no, it's Tapastic. Like I didn't get any views either when I started uploading my website. I don't know if there's much of a community there. I don't know.
People like the forums.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen of the forums, it's mostly like people promoting their own stuff and people asking for artists for their vague stories, stuff like that. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it would work good as like a comic forum, but I guess in terms of like webtoon upload, I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything super amazing come from Tapastic or Tapas.
Yeah.
As it's called now.
I've seen a couple of comics that do better on Tapas than webtoons, but it's because they uploaded there before Tapas really started going down, and they paid more attention to it.
Going down? Were they a good point before?
I vaguely remember like 2015. A lot of people said if you wanted to upload a webcomic, that's where you wanted to upload it, but I didn't have one at the time, so it was like, okay, I'll just remember this advice for later. So I'm assuming it was like better than what it was at some point, but I don't know.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, no, I don't remember much about it either, but oh well, it's a dead planet. I shouldn't say
that. Bro, I'm gonna be, bro, chill out. Nah, I'm trying to upload there, bro. Like, don't dishearten me. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, come
it's okay.
on.
It's all right. Sorry, you'll find the platform one day. Anyways.
Wow.
What do you do besides So what do you do outside of being like a canvas creator, and how does that like help? It does, or does that help you be a better writer or artist?
I work full time, so that's what I mostly do. I play Overwatch with my friends sometimes, and that's kind of it. Yeah, I don't have a lot of time to do much, so whatever free time I get, I try to like work on the comic, and if I don't want to work on it, I play video games, but I try not to do that too much.
Yeah, no, it's I guess being sucked into video games for too long, it'll take away from your time from actually creating. But would you say like you get inspiration from any sort of like video games that you do play, or any sort of media that you consume that goes straight back into Death Disciple?
I read manga sometimes, and I read other webcomics, and I try to see what they do, but yeah. I wouldn't say video games or working really inspires Death's Disciple. When I'm at work, it's all I think about. Like, I want to come home and draw and work on it, but besides that, no.
That's cool. That's cool. Because like I mean, I'd imagine a lot of people who work or go to school would have practically zero time trying to work on their webtoon. So when I do hear that, I think that's pretty cool.
It's
what
I have to really discipline myself to work on it. Some days I'm like really tired to do it, but I force myself to do it anyway. It's just something you gotta do, you know?
I
Do you ever
feel
do it like during work or anything like that, or like?
just sneak some
Uh,
coding.
Yeah, because that's what I do for like school and whatnot.
no, I can't do that at my works. When I think of like really good lines, I write them down in like a Discord channel
Mhm.
so I can remember them later. But I don't work on it at work because I can't. I
Yeah,
have
that's
I
understandable.
could bring my iPad to work, but I don't want people looking over my shoulder. Or, yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm usually super busy anyway.
or do you get that super creeping feeling where somebody's looking and they're like, "Ooh, can you draw me next?" Have you ever had
Oh,
that? Have that happened to you?
in high school,
Uh,
um, most people at my job don't really know me or know that I draw. So,
all right. So it's like a double life.
yeah.
It's fun thinking like that. But okay, that's interesting. And okay, so moving more into like Death Disciple, right? Why did you choose? Why did you choose your first story, its actual premise, to be about the afterlife?
um, that's a good question. I don't really know.
Oh.
When I start making stories in my head, they kind of just they're like concepts that slowly just start to go build on themselves.
Mhm.
That's kind of what happened with Death's Disciple.
Right.
I don't even remember how I like really thought of the concept. I just kind of like was in my head someday, and then I just started working on it more and more and more and more.
Mhm.
Um, the first two characters I came up with were Locust and Jasmine,
Mhm.
and everyone else kind of came later.
Right.
And I wouldn't say they were totally different, but they were pretty different then when it was just in my head versus how they are now.
Okay.
Oh, you mean
Yeah.
like personality and character designs, like in your head, and then when pen and paper came.
Yeah, I didn't even know what they looked like in my head. I just kept drawing over and over until they looked right, pretty much. And even I remember when I came up with his current design, with the Reaper's current design, I was like, this isn't perfect, but I'll go with it. And then it eventually started growing on me. Sorry, that's my cat jumping on the desk.
It's all right.
Um, but yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Okay.
Oh,
I also
blah.
like lost my train of thought for a second.
It's cool. Just let the cat do her thing. It's all right.
Yeah, that's what she does.
Um. Yo, you go ahead, Prince.
So, yeah, I was about to say, so what are the themes you were trying to present in Death's Disciple?
The themes are moving on with your past.
Mhm.
That's like the biggest one, I think. And there's a lot of little things in it. But yeah, that's probably the biggest one because everyone has like a little problem. Everyone has a problem they're trying to move forward with in their lives,
Mhm.
and they either can't or they're having trouble with it. So it's kind of like with my own life, I guess.
Mhm.
I,
Okay.
Is it just leaving the past behind, or are there any other themes that you've wanted to present in it so far?
religion too. I
Mhm.
used to be
Specifically,
super, specifically Catholicism.
yeah.
I was
Oh.
raised Roman Catholic, and I used to
Oh.
be super religious up until I was 13, I
Mhm.
want to say. And ever since I started apart with it, it's never really gone with
Mhm.
me. I don't think it could ever really go away. So when I started working on this comic, it's like me talking about it in
Right.
a really weird way.
So, do you see it as a sort of like ghost of your past, somewhat?
Some things in it definitely are. Some things are like based off my life directly, and some things made up.
That's yeah. That's okay. All right. I like that idea because like sometimes subconsciously, if there are any sort of like present themes going on in your life, it'll reflect back into. It's gonna reflect back into your work.
Yeah.
So, if there is still that Catholicism going in, like deep inside of you, you're gonna be writing about it, and it's gonna come present in your artwork. So it's interesting to say that because I do see that
Yeah.
kind of present in your artwork sometimes.
It's comforting, I think.
Mm.
I don't know how to put it. It's like I'm talking about it in my own terms,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm also being creative about it. And
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
Do
I
you
have this worded
feel?
like perfectly in my head. Now I'm like struggling to talk about it.
It's cool. It's cool.
I mean, it's a very abstract. I mean, especially with subconscious stuff like your past and whatnot, it all somehow, whether you like it or not, just ends up awkwardly seeing its place in anything creative you try to do. So it's only natural.
Mm.
Do you
I
feel
remember.
as the? Hmm?
Oh, what were you gonna say? Sorry. It's
I was no. Say what you were gonna say.
I remember even some of the older stories I had in my head
Mm-hmm.
dealt with like similar things. They're not the exact same story, but in high school I had a story in my head that I never wrote down that that dealt with like praying too. And another comic idea I had that never really reached the ground was about two girls trying to move on from their past too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in every story I've tried to make, they all have like similar themes, but Death's Disciple is like all of them coming into like one big one, pretty much.
Ah.
Do you feel as though you've gotten some answers about um, Catholicism, having grown up with it, or do you feel like you're still pretty much in the dark about how you feel about it?
It hasn't really changed, really. I've done more research now than I actually when I was actually for the comic, ironically. But it hasn't really changed my opinion on anything. I'm still like walking the middle of not being religious and still feeling something about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Okay.
just
Makes sense.
yeah.
So I guess
It's like
that's
Nah.
what were you gonna say, sir?
Oh no, I was gonna say it's like you still have a. It's like a tiny little flicker of Catholicism somewhere within your heart. It's interesting to see that because I don't know.
Yeah.
People often rebel against religion because it used to be so much part of their identity, and when they grow up, they're like, I don't need religion anymore. I hate God. But when
Yeah.
people when people I guess when they start growing up and start finding themselves and they realize that religion still has that tiny little bit
It's
of
very incomplete.
yeah
Yeah.
exactly.
It never really goes away, I don't think. When I like even with me sometimes when I'm scared, I still like pray or I still,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Even
Okay.
if I'm still like in the middle, I still like all those teachings are still in my head.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. That's fine. It's I guess it serves as comfort. Yeah.
Yeah. When you grow up,
Mm-hmm.
especially in my family, sometimes praying was all we really had for
Mm-hmm.
stuff. That's the only thing that like comforted my family, so I guess that's still with me too.
Hmm. And I guess through seeing it comfort all your family members, it just you automatically like click with you. This is a safe place for me. This is what
Yeah.
feels right.
And my family is still super religious. I'm like I wouldn't say I'm the odd one out because some of my other siblings still are like similar to me, but the
Mm-hmm.
rest of my family is still super, super religious.
I feel that. That's cool then. That's cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
if
Prince, carry
it,
on, go on.
if given the opportunity, would you become a feature creator and set aside your current job?
uh, maybe. I don't know. I was thinking about that from the last time
Mm-hmm.
you had asked me in
Yeah,
the test voice chat,
yeah.
and I think it's easy for me to say no. I probably wouldn't, but if Webtoons actually came up to me and was like, "Hey, we'd love to feature your comic," I'd probably do it. I don't know, or if like any other place
So
was like, "We'd love to publish your comic, but you'd have to like work on it and not get paid for a little bit, there's a chance that I would say yeah.
Hmm. I guess there's a risk to that because like
There's
that's
always a risk.
yeah, there's an
Yeah.
awful lot of time you're sinking in without pay. That sucks.
Yeah, yeah. And my current job, it's not the best paying job, but it's also not like terrible paying. It
Mhm.
gets bills paid, so I would need like it'd be a pretty big jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine then. So do you have any idea as to what you'll be doing, like post that Death Disciple?
Disciple.
I started. I'm sorry. Do you have any sort of like projects or just anything planned after Death Disciple once it's concluded?
I don't know, not really. This is probably gonna go on for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I would do. I've always wanted to make like maybe a little Yuman Nikki fan game or something,
Ooh.
but not like I don't have any like big plans beyond this.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, you might. Wait, what was that?
Yumi Nikki, a fan game.
What's you mean,
Yeah.
Nikki?
That diary. The
Oh,
pink-haired
Mirai
crazy girl.
Nikki.
Yeah.
No.
Uh.
Yuman Nikki is a video game about
Oh no.
a
I got it
little
wrong.
girl who explores her dreams. It's like a little indie game.
Ah.
Huh.
Yeah, Mirai Nikki is that's the one with the pink-haired girl, right?
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah, that looks different. I haven't seen that one. I don't know what that one's about. I just know that she exists.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Is this
I
an
heard
RPG
it's like
horror
not
game?
great, but
Sorry, Joe. Quickly ask: is Yumi Nikki an RPG horror game?
yeah, it's
Oh,
basically
nice.
just yeah. There's a bunch of fan games based around it too, and
Oh.
I wouldn't mind trying to make one, but beyond that, I really don't have any other plans.
Hmm. So, are you familiar with other like horror RPG games?
Yeah, I love horror RPGs.
So like Ib or like our Oni or whatever it was called, and all them really like pretty popular horror RPG games.
Yeah, I love Eve. I haven't played Oni, but I heard it's good.
Oh my god, I had a phase where I just played horror RPG games during summer.
I know. I used to do that too. My favorite was The Witch's House.
The Witch's House was so good. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was so good. I tried doing the run where you don't save and you just go through the whole thing to get the special ending. I never got it.
That game's
I would
hard
get-
though. To be fair, that game's hard.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you enter the house and the teddy bear comes in to murder you, I
Oh wait, what? Chill, sir.
a horror Witch's House is
It's a-
really good.
It's a free horror game. When I tried to do the no save run, I got to the part where you put the frog through the door, and I would always die. I forgot what would kill me.
You put a frog through a door.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you put a frog through a little door hole so you can get through because it gets eaten. It's a game.
What?
It sounds really weird out of context.
It's not even. That's just sad. Like,
I didn't.
you're just putting this poor frog. You clearly did it a lot of times.
Yeah, I
Dakota,
never wanted to do it, but I wanted to get
You
the
still
special
did it.
ending. I know.
Who cares about a special ending? You're putting a frog through a door. You know.
But you had to, if you want to progress in the game, you have to kill the frog. I never wanted to do it, but I had to.
And then there was like levels where you just go upstairs for a really long time. You're just stuck in like an infinite loop, and
Yeah.
I hated that part because I actually had to walk through that part because I didn't understand what the hell was going on. Needs to say, Witch's House probably one of the best, not JRPGs, horror RPGs out there. You can play it for yourself free, but that's interesting.
Yeah, it's fun. That one's probably the best one, in my opinion.
I always have to tackle between that and Ib.
It's really good. The story's really good.
Yeah, I got attached to purple hair guy.
Yeah, I love Gary.
That's his name, Gary. Yeah,
Gary.
The only thing though I remember vaguely of that was when they went to that little. Do you remember the part when they were in like that crayon world?
Yeah, I remember that one.
That was especially trippy. But I haven't played these games in a long time. But when you said Yumi Nikki, it just brought back so many memories. Oh my god.
I used to play those games a lot, but I don't have like a PC to play. Well,
Mm.
I do now, but my boyfriend's always on it, so I never really get the chance to play them anymore. I would
Uh,
totally love to replay them again someday.
it's yeah. I mean, last I remember though, I eventually hit like a wall because like I was on such a high with like RPG horror games. They I like eventually play all of them and like they because they're made pretty slowly. There hasn't been a good one for a long time.
Yeah, um, I think the last one I played was forgot the name. Yeah, I played like Wada Nohara in the Great Blue Sea. I remember it now. That was the last
Great,
one I played. It was okay.
the Great Blue Sea. Haven't heard of that one actually.
Yeah, the art style is cute, but it's like okay.
It's not horror. It ain't no witch's house, right?
Yeah, no.
Man, I want a game like that. We digress though.
Yeah, I just want you guys to enjoy your little horror
It's
nostalgia. Yeah, while I'm
we
just
should
here in the
we,
dark. Yeah.
we should play it too sometimes. Put it on stream.
Those are
Uh,
my video game. That's my favorite video game genre. So went on a tangent. My bad.
it's okay.
It's such a good genre. But anyways, Prince, take it away.
So now we'll get into the part where I haven't been able to do something like this since like the Cyril interview, only because I haven't been I didn't have much content to work with asking questions about the story itself.
Mm-hmm.
But now
You're going crazy.
I'm happy to say
You're gonna put
lovely.
Dako on the spot now.
Yeah. So first question, yeah. Why would you
Yeah.
choose someone like Claudette to be the main character out of all the sinners with the Grim Reaper?
Um, celebrityism, like being a celebrity, I've never really been super into it, but I found it kind of interesting. I think that like she and Locust are kind of more similar than what they would think because they're both super disconnected from humanity because of who they are. Locust doesn't talk to humans outside of his contracts, and Jasmine, she doesn't really talk to anyone outside of her friends, and no one really likes her because of just how she is personality wise. And
She seems like a TikTok star, to be honest, in my head.
Okay, all right. Why are you this now? Crazy.
I'm just saying, right? She's got that energy.
yeah, she does have that energy. But I just thought it was kind of interesting. If the way people act towards like their favorite celebrities, like how they can do no wrong. I wouldn't say it's like exactly like religion, but it's kind of similar.
Mm.
So I thought that would be kind of interesting. Like, you know how do I put it? There's a ton of people Jasmine doesn't know who love her, but she will never meet them. And that's kind of the same way with like God. And if Locust wanted people to worship him, which he doesn't, he could be like that too. I don't know if that makes sense. So
No, it makes
I just
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that would be interesting to write about. Just something I don't fully understand, but I see similarities to something that I used to understand.
Hmm.
I mean, I still have like celebrities that I like and stuff. I'm talking more like people who really, really like them. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like people who go their whole lives trying to like meet them or be like one.
Mm-hmm.
So you have someone who's pretty much accomplished that and doesn't really like the fact that she is. It was kind of thrown on her in the story.
Mm.
Yeah. So canonly her mother was not the best mother in the world, and she kind of lived her whole life to become famous for her mother. So and Locust is kind of similar, but that the similarity is more of a spoiler
Hmm.
on his end.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
But they're
see.
both like at first glance totally different, but when you really start to look at them, they're like, oh, they have a lot more common than they think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that would be fun to write about.
What inspired her dynamic with Alyssa and Persephone then?
Persephone, they were supposed they're total opposites, basically. Like how Persephone reacted to being asked to contract versus how Jasmine did.
Mm-hmm.
And in canon, they've only met once, basically. So they don't really have like a relationship dynamic, like how they know each other. It's more of just like symbolism type of stuff, like comparing. Oh my god, comparing
It's alright.
how one person would react versus another.
That's a new
Ah, I can't talk.
one. It's okay.
And
We all love Jasmine most of the time. Yikes.
Oh, that's crazy.
So, live chat is saying Lana EXP. You got. Wow.
I didn't want to say this before, but someone said locust toes, and I was like, wait, why are we
Locust
talking
toes.
about locust? Because that's the Grim Reaper's name, locust. Yeah.
Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah, but
And
why
they're
we
talking
say
about his toes. I don't even know why.
It's like a meme in the little fan.
Your fandom just talks about locusts.
Yes.
Uh, this-
The fandom is like me and my 10 other friends, basically. It's fun.
we're talking about. Alright. Guys, what does it look like when he clips his toenail? Let me stop.
I'll never be able to look at him the same way.
Oh no.
Your fandom's ruined me.
Moving on then. Why does the Grim Reaper need a familiar? Because as far as I'm concerned, I don't really see interpretations of the Grim Reaper having pets often. Maybe I'm just not remembering them. I just don't see it often.
See, I can't really. I've been thinking about this question all week. I can't really answer why Pilot exists. He's the bane of my existence.
Why?
Wow.
Why is he the bane of your existence? He's your creation.
He keeps up at night, just like, why are you alive?
He's just like. He just sort of exists. He has the greater narrative and the purpose in the story, but he just exists because he's a Redditor who's stuck in a cat. And I thought that would be like pretty fun.
I don't like him. No.
You're right.
I never
Scott.
liked Pilot. I thought he was okay, maybe just a bit, but no, I don't like him. No, he's annoying. He can go. The fact that Locust can even tolerate Pilot is amazing to me. We don't talk about that. Yeah.
He's still his pet. He's still.
I don't care if he's a pet. Like, get out. Like, no.
How you just destroy and pull Pilot?
Nah,
This-
if you
the
read,
winter cat, the
you
neck big
remember
cat.
Pilot, bro. No.
Ouch,
He's just-
man.
There, he just came out of the corner of my brain somewhere and just like started existing in the story.
I saw it. I saw him
And-
once sleep paralysis, and now he's in my webtoon.
Andrew
very
says
first
he created
bit.
himself and used Dako's mind as a stepping stone.
Oh no!
God, please.
Where's
Stop.
his darkest quarters? That's basically what happened.
Oh, I hate that. He created himself and used Dako's mind to wriggled his way from the deepest, darkest stone. You're crazy. Your fans are crazy.
And see, in the very first iteration, he didn't talk, and I think that was like a great idea, and I don't know why I changed it.
Yeah, you
So-
decide to give him actual dialogue
It's even
for some
better now.
reason.
It's even better now, to be
Hey,
fair.
wouldn't it be funny if he was funny, and now I kind of regret
He's not funny at all. He's annoying.
it?
That's it.
Step out in.
In next chapter, he will have more lines to
Why?
annoy everyone with.
With the Grim Reaper's toes. Alright.
Oh no!
Locust toes. Just step it up. Find it. Alright. Okay.
He's the type of person who goes on like meme subreddits on New and upvotes the funny ones and thinks he's doing like something for society.
When people downvote
Um,
it, he goes into the comments. I see you all downvoting it. Don't you see? I'm the Jesus for me.
Like the worst type of Reddit comment. He's that.
I hate it.
He puts thanks for the gold when he gets gold somehow.
Oh, I love him and hate him at the same time.
Terrible.
I want to see Locust with a neck beard now. I need fan art.
With the fedora.
Yeah, the fedora too. Oh my god.
Uh,
And the ponytail. Yikes.
oh, pilot with a ponytail. Just stop. No, stop.
No, I didn't. I don't think I could handle that. He has a little katana.
Oh, yes.
Uh,
Please. Please.
Okay,
No,
I'm gonna
stop.
remember that. I'm
Alright,
gonna make that
alright.
exist.
Oh no.
Paris, you're a breed, bro. swear
I
to
need
God,
to
you know.
see this. All right, okay. This needs to be materialized. Him standing next to Locust toes, ready to thanks for the.
Shut up. Paris!
This is terrible.
Please let me move on to the next question before I cry.
Okay.
Okay, move on. Go.
Where do talking animals like Pilot come from?
Pilot is a unique case in the context of the story, but all familiars just come from hell. They're the lowest form of demons, and they get assigned to people, and he was given to Locust by someone. That's kind of a spoiler of who gave him to him.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't even care. I just want to know like where people like Pilot come from. He had to have come from hell. Like I don't
Yeah,
care.
he
Yeah,
does come
like
from hell.
I'm
He is a
happy.
demon.
Wait, why did wait? You know, I'm not gonna dwell on it because it'll probably be more spoilers anyway. So, next question. Yeah, why did you write why did you write Locust's personality in the way you? Because he just sounds like a monotone human more than he does like an impartial being that guides souls.
Mhm.
You know?
I just wrote him like that. I don't really have like a grand, like, strong answer to it. He's his personality forming when I thought of the Grim Reaper concept, and it just stuck as the story started to evolve more and more. He used to not talk at all. He used to have his mouth used to be shut.
So it's the
Too.
same as Pilot. They both.
Yeah. It was when it was more of like a short story, and neither of them really talked. Jasmine in that iteration, she didn't have a name, and she would just stay in purgatory and watch like the people in her life like move on without her, as she was trying to like. I never really came up to what she was doing in purgatory at that point. I just know she was trying to like get Locust to send her back, but he wouldn't talk to her, basically. And she would just be stuck with Pilot for like a really, really long time. And she would just slowly give up on the idea of ever going back.
That's
But
an
I started
interesting
like,
iteration.
yeah, I started giving us like, I started giving them like more personalities and more backstories, and it slowly started to change from like a little short story to what it is now.
Mhm.
Since it's not a short story anymore, how long do you have any like timeline for the story, or will it go like as long as you feel like it? You know.
I have a timeline for it. I know what happens in the beginning, in the middle, and I mostly have an idea of how it's going to end. There's a couple of things I think I need to like figure out, but I basically know what's going to happen. And there's a couple I might add more to the middle, but it's not like a thing that can go on forever. It's eventually going to end.
Yeah.
And I hope I can see it to its end.
Mm.
I hope
I'm
so
hoping,
too.
yeah, it's gonna be I want to make it around 50 chapters because, like when we talked about in the voice chat last time, there's 50 Hail Marys in a rosary.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So like that religious symbolism going on, but we'll see how long it actually is.
I just realized I want to see. Are we gonna see God by the end?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
God
All
will
right.
show.
I don't even know why I didn't write that question. I'm like, I completely forgot about God. Wait.
That would be interesting.
Yeah,
I'm trying
God
to
is
see what
eventually
this
going
how
to
you draw
show
God,
up. It's gonna be interesting.
or is it gonna be Catholic God? Is it gonna be like
His head
like
in the
the
clouds.
Catholic? He's just a beard, and that's it. You know, just a
He's
white
just
beard.
No, he's going to show up. towards the end. But right now, what he's doing and where he's at is actually just like a spoiler. Well, it's not really a spoiler. No one really knows where he's at. I don't think it would be too big of a spoiler to say that. Because Locust, I think the next after Jasmine goes back to Earth this time, and then next time she talks to him, he's going to talk a little bit more about his relationship with heaven and hell. And he says no one really knows where God has been for the past however long.
It kind of reminds me of how God's like, cause like I guess the last time I remember God in like the Bible is kind of related to Jesus. It's like after this man resurrected, you don't really, I don't think there really is much after. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know,
No.
my knowledge of theology just like is slowly deteriorating because of Corona. You know.
Because
That's
didn't wear
fair.
a mask, man. Jesus.
The final chapter of the Bible is Revelations, and it talks about the apocalypse.
Yeah.
And I know this because of Death's Disciple.
Oh.
So,
Oh.
because I did research into it, so that's something.
Time skip to the apocalypse at the ending of Dust Disciple. Hmm?
We'll
Don't
see.
sip it. Peeking the mics. Right.
It's like I know what's going to happen with Jasmine, but Locust, it's I don't know yet. It's like I know what mostly happens up until like one point, and I'm like I kind of torn on. I have like multiple ways it could end, and I'm kind of torn on which one is the best, and I still feel like I come up with something better, and but I still have like a lot of time before I actually get there, so you know.
Interesting.
Wow. I look forward to seeing the boy God come out of the like the outside of time and space to pull up and say what's up. You know what I'm saying?
I get you.
But before we move on to the last two parts, the last two questions, yeah. I just want to say I find your how should I put it? You come from a very when you start off making this disciple, right? Like the way you explain it's a very simple beginning, right? I mean, a lot of creators, I think, like they just want to like make a web comic or a manga or whatever, right? But it's just like given your position, like you have like a job, you have like so many other responsibilities, probably. And you're just like, you know what? Like whenever I have free time after work or whatever, I'm just gonna do it, you know?
Yeah.
Just for fun. Yeah. I just find that really it really serves as no excuse for me if I can't like I'm out here being a student, yeah. I don't have a job and stuff. Like I'm at home most of the time now. What excuse do I have, you know?
I mean,
I have all this extra
at
time.
your own pace.
Everyone's at their own pace. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But
Just
like
your own pace.
everyone has their own pace. But
But
if you're doing all of that and I'm just being a bum, yeah, I don't think I personally at my own pace, I find that unacceptable for me. It's very inspiring, you know. So on to the last two questions, yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. Don't worry,
Hmm?
guys. If you take Dako as an inspiration, she's doing everything. So
What's that?
Huh?
You're breaking up a little bit.
Jeez. All right. Sorry. Let me get close to my mic here. I was just saying, take Dako as an inspiration. You don't be a bum. But yeah.
No.
Don't go down the path I've went down many a time, brothers.
Yeah, just don't.
If you don't have this, I didn't have a social life before, so that also really helps.
Yeah, that too, actually. Anyways, the last two questions, right? So, more so thinking about your work, what are the critiques like you've received in terms of like art and writing, art/writing?
The biggest critique I've got is that it's hard to read because of the fonts in the beginning, which is totally fair. The only feedback I really got in the beginning was when a couple of friends read it. They were just like, "Pilot is funny," and that's it. They didn't really say anything else beyond it, so I kind of kept going with the weird fonts. And when I joined Webtoon Hub, that one server, me and Requiem were both in,
Yeah.
they did a whole week on my comic and where people actually critiqued me and talked to me about it.
Ah.
And that was like the first time I've actually gotten feedback from other people who make comics, and they're like, "Yeah, your font is like way too small. You got to remember people read on like their phone." Um, Another critique I've gotten is that everyone talks too much. Like it's really dialogue heavy,
Yeah.
and that I could probably tone down how they talk. And when I got that critique, I realized, oh, that's just how I talk in like general, and it's like bleeding into my writing where I overword things and over explain things.
I guess.
So
Yeah. I mean, Webtoon. The way I just see like the way it works. They like seeing a lot of images rather than like text because
I mean,
surprisingly
it's a
enough,
webcomic
yeah, it's
site.
a
Of
web.
course, that's
Yeah.
gonna be the case.
Yeah, so usually, I mean, it's different from like how manga is structured because sometimes in manga, there could be paragraphs. Like if you really want to explain a certain subject, and that would run fine. But on Webtoon, it works differently. People want to see more imagery and more action rather than having everything explained to them. It's
yeah,
I find it quite annoying personally as well, because I do sometimes that like exposition dump as well. But I feel like it's necessary. Like.
yeah, definitely. I think it is necessary sometimes in stories
Mhm.
to have like exposition dumps. Um, I'm trying from when I got those critiques, I'm trying to like tone down the dialogue, and I'm trying to like most most of the critiques I've gotten have been about the dialogue. I've gotten two people tell me that they've compared it to like really difficult books they've read in their lives.
I mean, not really.
Like two different people have told me it's one person told me it was like Shakespeare, and another person told me I don't even know what book they said. They just quoted some Russian book, and they were like, "Yeah, I had an easier time reading that than this." And I was like, "Okay,
Oy,
That
aw,
yeah."
I wouldn't
that
say
is
That
that.
person
very.
ended up that person ended up really really liking it later on when they started to get what was going on.
Mhm.
So, they,
You have a way of words, though. I wouldn't say Shakespeare compared it to Shakespeare is a bit much.
I I was just like, "All right." They were like, "I like it. I've never read anything else like this," and I subscribed. And I was like, "Okay, cool. I
Yeah,
like that."
yeah, no, that's fine. People have their own way with wording things. I could understand for like a platform like Webtoon, I guess toning back the messaging, like the way you like convey the messages. But honestly, like I don't see a problem in Death Disciple with the way you. It's very poetic, is what I'd say. I like that poetic side to
That
it.
Okay.
might be the Shakespearean criticism
I can
that's
see
connected
that
to it,
seeping
because
in,
Shakespeare is very poetic. Yeah,
but I don't think
Yeah.
she's not doing no doth thy something
Locus
something.
is Shakespeare now.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, new headcanon. But last question I wanted to ask.
Wait. I kind of I forgot to ask this. Yeah.
Uh
Yeah.
oh.
Wait.
What did you want to ask
What did
again?
I really forget? Ah!
Prince?
Oh
Prince?
no! I hate my life,
Is
bro.
everything okay, man? Like, why did you?
No, because like I remember while you guys were talking, I'm like, oh, I forgot. Oh yeah, you said you were gonna. Have you? Did you have? Because like we were talking when we were talking before, right? You said you were reconsidering changing up the pilot, the first episode, the first few episodes or something.
Yeah. I wanted to restart it for a little bit, but you and a bunch of other people told me it's probably better to just keep going and fix
Mhm.
what really really bothers me. So
Mm,
that's what I'm gonna do.
I feel that.
When this chapter is over, what I want to do is I want to like redraw some of the pages in the earlier chapters that really bother me,
Mm-hmm.
and then color like the first few pages of each chapter. I think that would. Oh, another critique I've gotten was a lot of people didn't understand the pro tag switch, so I think adding colors would help people understand it better.
All right.
Putting
But
colors in selective like parts of the chapters.
yeah, you know how manga sometimes has
Yeah.
like the first page colored and the rest are all in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking I was gonna do. I have a couple of pages that I've already like test colored that I think came out pretty nice. So
Mm.
just fix what really, really bothers me and keeps going.
All right.
Yeah. I I had these exact same thoughts like when I did my webtoon, and yeah, yeah, it's easy to very much think that like your past work is so crap you need to change it. But honestly, the way it's going, I wouldn't suggest changing it too much. I mean, what you say now is perfect. You don't really need to go ahead and rewrite anything. And I guess like the advice that I could give that was given to me was just I guess the quality will speak for itself once you continue more and more in the story, like how it advances. Like you'd be at a much different level as you were at the beginning. So the more and more the readers read on, the more and more quality, the quality is gonna ramp up more and more.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's the curse of webcomics. Your older work will always be the first impression, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's just something I think I gotta accept and just like move on with.
Yeah. Exactly. It's kind of easier for us as well, compared to like manga creators who like have it immediately published and you can't go back on it. It's already everybody's seen it. Whereas we could just quickly like omit something and nobody would ever know.
I actually didn't think about it that way. That's a really good point.
Yeah, that's what
We
I
do
had
that
in mind.
period.
Yeah.
I mean, at least you have the advantage of doing that compared to feature creators. So,
Yeah,
at least you have
that's
that
true.
type of flexibility. The
Yeah.
option is nice to have.
Yeah, feature creators have the editors and stuff too, so they don't. I don't think they have it like. I don't think they'd ever have anything to have to revise too much because they probably have this all planned out months in advance
Yeah.
for their chapters. So they it's probably not as bad.
Mm-hmm.
But with like manga artists, they usually make it like the same week, right, or something, depending on who they are.
Yeah. Yeah. They'd have manga creators. They do it like like properly weekly, but they'd
Yeah,
like when they'd upload like chapter 15 or something. At that point, they'd be like chapter 20. They'd be 5 chapters ahead. So they'd constantly have time to plan something and like rewrite something. They still have little gaps, but it's a lot more stricter than it is with like webtoon creators.
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Hmm. Okay, but now we're moving on to the last bit. The last question. What advice, as an artist slash writer, do you want to share with everyone today? Or maybe, what is a mistake that you'd want future creators to avoid?
Um, Definitely the font thing. Make sure make sure you make sure it's readable.
Mhm.
Like even if you just like you can go on Webtoons or Tapas or wherever you want to go and like save as draft and like look at it and
Mhm.
make sure that it's readable. Because I know that Tapas and Webtoons both have like a little thing where you could view the mobile version.
Yeah.
So at least make sure it's like sort of readable. Another thing, really plan out what you want to do. Make sure this is something you really, really want to do because making comics is like I love doing it, but if I wasn't so attached to the story and to this characters, I probably would have given up a long time ago. Or it would or production would be going a lot slower.
Mhm.
And what else? Beyond that, just make sure you're doing what makes you happy.
Mhm.
And the first step is to get started. If you're new to this, a lot of advice you will see is like just go for it. And
Mhm.
there's a reason why everyone says
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because that's really the biggest step is just actually starting what you want to start.
Mhm. Okay.
But also make sure it's legible.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, I feel that completely. Like you're never really gonna get anywhere unless you put out that first bit of work. I guess you've taken that first step once it's out in the public.
Yeah. Even make like a short story. Like the webtoon short story right now is a really good time to get started. There's
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
like there's always like comic contests going on beyond that too where you make like little short stories. You can like make those, get those critiqued and like slowly build, you know, slowly work on your skills before you work on your big thing. That's smart. That's what I should have done, but I didn't do that. So I'm just living with it.
It's all right. It's so cool.
I just want to say, Tinfoil Dragon says, I just want to say I always admired how long your episodes were, and even more impressed now hearing how little free time you have to work on this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yo,
It really means a lot.
there's so many. I just realized they be really going in the chat.
Yeah, like I was like wondering, is like, should I like, I don't know how to go about this because
Yeah,
like,
I wanted.
does thou speaketh too effing much, pilot.
I love that one.
Oh my god, but yeah, yeah, you're fine.
Thanks for the gold, kind redditor. So
Okay, and
wow, we
on
missed so
that
much.
note,
That's
on,
so terrible.
on that note, I would like on that note, I would say for the people who don't know Dakota, please support her on all platforms, but really on Webtoon, read Death Disciple. Her name is Starry C on Webtoon, and you can see her Twitter tags right there at Death Disciple _, and that's the official Death Disciple Twitter. But her personal one
Yeah.
is at
Fool.
This is a trap. This was a trap. Yeah, so go support her on that. I highly recommend this. This webtoon. You guys should read and tell her what you thought of it, because you know there's nothing more than just telling your favorite creators how much you love the webtoon. It makes
Please
us all
feed my
happy.
ego. I need it. Make me
Dako
wish my
fan
weekends
club
really good work.
represent.
And side note, just quickly, me and Prince have also created a webtoon for the webtoon contest. We're gonna be releasing that shortly. More details to come. It's coming tonight though. But other than that, any final words?
Alright. I wish y'all luck in the contest, guys.
Hey.
Oh,
thank
thanks.
you. And on that,
I will subscribe to it and like it and comment on it.
yeah.
Hell yeah, yeah.
And you guys should too. And with that, I want to say goodbye, guys. Goodbye, guys.
Guys, thanks for
Arrivederci,
having me.
brothers.
It was fun.
Yeah.